Welcome to the final topic of the massive open online course, Simulation Models for the Design of Transition Paths Toward a Sustainable Society. Today, we will learn how to design policy targets and scenarios in the MEDEAS model. In the first session of the topic, we'll introduce the energy and climate change policies and scenarios. After that, we'll go right to the point and define some scenarios and simulate them in the second session. Integrated assessment models, or IAMs, are useful for their capability to show us possible outcomes for the years to come under different circumstances. Uncertainty is the dominant feature of complex systems, and that's why scenarios are so important to IAMs, especially in system dynamics models. Therefore, we need to trace comprehensive storyline pathways to model complex systems under high uncertainty. Defining a scenario takes a qualitative story to support it, and of course, every storyline has to be grounded on numbers, which will be quantitative inputs to the models. Scenarios are very handy to answer such research questions as what would the system performance be if population were twice the current population, or if GDP grew faster or slower than historical projections. It is also useful for assessing the sensitivity of our endogenous variables to scenarios or exogenous variables. One of the most popular framework scenarios is the Shared Socioeconomic Pathways, or SSPs, widely used by the IPCC in their reports. Here you can see the qualitative characteristics for their 5 scenarios. Basically, SSP1 is a scenario which could be defined as a green growth narrative, where the energy transition goes together with economic development. SSP2 is sometimes also known as a business as usual scenario, where historical trends are followed and no big efforts on the energy transition are to be expected. SSP3 is a regionalization scenario, where international cooperation loses strength with slow economic development and population growth, higher inequality, and also low concerns on climate action. SSP4 tells a story of adaptation policies rather than mitigation efforts, growing social conflicts, and high technological development, especially in middle and high-income countries. Finally, SSP5 follows a storyline whereby the economy and the energy transitions rely increasingly in global markets, they believe in growing fossil fuel reserves and high economic growth. So, demography, economic growth, inequality, technology, policy efforts, and energy mix options are the main drivers of the shared socioeconomic pathways. Because we are modeling an energy transition towards sustainability, it makes sense to have a look at the framework set by the current climate governance to define our own scenarios. The Paris Agreement was reached by the international community in 1915, and it established as its main objective keeping a global temperature rise well below 2 degrees, and limiting the temperature increase even further than 1.5 degrees over pre-industrial levels. To meet this goal, each country submitted what was called intended nationally determined contributions, where they described the policies that they would implement in their respective territories. Despite this unilateral approach, we can track some common patterns which will help us to define scenarios. If we focus on just the 15 top policies put forward by the different countries, we can see an overwhelming preference for a shift in the electricity mix towards clean, renewable technologies, but also for measures oriented towards energy efficiency, both production and consumption based, electrification, substituting oil and coal by natural gas, different policies regarding transport such as electrification, fostering biofuels, or changing transport modes. Also, recycling, reducing, and implementing ambitious afforestation programs. This has been the description of the general framework of climate and energy policies, which is the basis for the definition of the scenarios and policy targets in MEDEAS model. Now, we are ready to run the model. We will see how to do it in the next and final section of the course.